Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right. Hey, my beautiful people. Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today we are diving deep into a powerful transformation topic. We're talking about setting boundaries with love. Now, you know, we are in our May series where we are talking about nurturing relationships, right? And listen, if there's one thing that can change the way that you show up in your relationship, romantic, platonic, even professional, is understanding the art of setting healthy and loving boundaries. You see, setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about honoring your own needs and creating safe and sacred spaces for connections to thrive. And to help us to unpack this, you know who here to join us on this Mindset Monday is our favorite resident therapist, Dr. Will Washington, who is going to drop some real gems today. But before we get into this conversation, I also want to remind you that the free Year of the Rebirth workbook is available right now for download. This month's section is packed with journal prompts, real world practices, and just setting boundaries. So grab it if you haven't already. So before we bring Dr. Will to the stage, you know what we got to do. We have to take a quick break. All right. It's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. And we will be right back.
Join us this May for a groundbreaking series that bridges the gap between love and mental wellness. Love and Mental Health, a powerful 4-part journey exploring the intricate connection between relationships and mental well-being. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, join host Nyomi Banks alongside our resident therapist, Dr. Will Washington, health psychologist and owner of Washington Wellness Institute, who brings his expertise to all 4 powerful episodes. Each week, they're joined by remarkable specialists. Week 1, May 1st, author of God's Divine Plans for Marriage and ordained Christian minister, Krista Nicole, tackles dating while managing mental health. Week 2, May 8th, marriage and family therapist Aquila Wheatley, owner and founder of Support Advice, discusses supporting a partner with mental health challenges. Week 3, May 15th, celebrity relationship coach and intuitive energy healer Terry Christie, TV personality and author of The Secret Power of You, explores couples therapy and mental health. Week 4, May 22nd, London-based clinical psychologist and sex/intimacy coach Dr. Lori Beth Bisbay delves into generational mental health and relationships. This powerhouse lineup combines Dr. Washington's ongoing expertise with specialized insights from our weekly guests, offering you a comprehensive approach to mental health and relationships. Whether you're single, dating, or in a committed relationship, this series delivers the tools and understanding you need. Don't miss this life-changing series. Follow Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap on your favorite podcast platform and visit AskNyomi.com to be part of the conversation. Because when it comes to love and mental health, knowledge is power. Always keep it so sexy.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good, so I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, well, welcome back. Hey, Dr. Will.
It's good to see you. I'm really excited about this. This is gonna be fun. The commercials. I was like, we're doing this and that and this. And that, I was like, I look good on that promo. So I was excited. I was like, shout out to the producer, editor, director, and writer. So, shout out. I was like, okay, this is good. This is good.
No, I am too. I am so excited just for the series completely. I know this week your homegirl gonna be with us.
It's gonna be fire. You don't play. That's the one right there. She is the one.
Yeah,
She is
it's
the
gonna
one.
be it's
Yeah.
gonna be well, it has been a great series. It has been a great series, and I'm just happy for it. Just coming along, just when that the listener, I don't want to say his name right now, the listener, when he sent this letter end of last year.
Mm.
And I remember he calls in a lot. He has a lot of questions and really just trying to do his work. And then he had shared with me that he had PTSD. He was in the army. Yeah, he had PTSD. And his whole thing was truly, sharing that information with, potential mates, first off. So his question was, should he do it now? Because he has been doing it before and he see that they kind of go away from him. And so when I sat in it for a minute, I said, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I want to make sure that I have everything possible to make your relationship and you successful. I said, so I don't want to just give my own critique. I want to build something around entirely. And so at first I just wanted to do a show. And then something say, no, take that whole month, take that whole entire month and build a team around that is going to truly help him and others to go through this, because we all have something going on with us mental, whether it's depression, anxiety, and then we go into the heavier things, but we still need to know how to be able to be in those relationships, the communications, as well as setting boundaries. And it was so ironic that even this month is all about relationships. You understand?
Yeah.
And so it just goes hand in hand with one another. And I promise you, when I thought about doing that in building the series for this month here on the season of self-love, it wasn't even I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking more because this May is really mental health awareness month. That's what this is.
Right. Exactly.
And so I didn't even think about it then to 2 and 2. And you see how, God be working. He just
It
be
puts it all
aligning
together. Everything's being
right
put together. Everything's
Yeah.
being put together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we going to have you with us every week there too.
I'm
Yeah.
excited. Yeah, look, and I actually for once in my life, I have every time at a slot free. I didn't have to move any schedule. I only had one award ceremony that I'm being honored at, and I'm still gonna be able to make it on time. So I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Like I was saying, I want to do that series every year. I would love to just dedicate that month every year, that it just get bigger and better, and just doing so many things, because I really think, especially in this day of time right now, I think it's needed. I think it's truly needed. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And so I appreciate you doing the work. Because I just show up. So I appreciate you doing the work completely. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about what we're talking about today. And it's all about setting boundaries with love. With love, we ain't cutting nobody off. But before we get into it, let's do a nice little guided meditation. You understand how we do
You
this?
might have to cut some. Okay, all right.
We're going, you know how we do it. We're going to close our eyes and get real comfortable in this moment, in this time, all right? Take a deep breath in. Now hold it. And exhale slowly. Now I want you to imagine a gentle light that's surrounding you, just surrounding your body. A warm glow. It's forming a circle of peace and protection. This is your sacred boundary. It's not a wall, but it's a doorway, inviting in love, safety, and respect, and gently closing to anything that drains or disrespects your soul. Now take one deep breath in. And as you exhale, I want you to whisper to yourself, my boundaries are an act of self-love. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people, my boundaries are an act of self-love. And if you're new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something we do every day, Monday through Friday. I feel so good today. I did a nice little workout this morning. I don't know if it's the creatine and the protein.
I know I had a lot. I put an extra scoop in mine. I was like, I need this today, Monday.
This got me hype. I just think May is just such a beautiful month. I really do.
Well, I love May because it's the manifestation, right? Like April, everything blooms and begins to bloom. But then May is when everything you start to see, right? Like, so may everything be in your favor. May everything be possible for you.
Yeah, I like that. I like that one. All right, so let's get it going. Let's start from the top. What exactly are boundaries? And I know we talk about this a lot, but let's talk like somebody is new listening right now and truly don't understand it. Oh, wait, y'all know. We got to see some stuff. Well, let me hit it. Okay, this is what it is. So what are the boundaries? Because like I said, folks still believe that setting boundaries, and I think we talked about this a little bit, means that you're being cold or selfish, or you just closing off everything. So can we break it down?
Yeah. So I'm going to first define it in the way that people are used to. Then I'm going to define it the way that I do. And then I'll define it the way that we do. Okay. Right. So the way that people typically hear boundaries is, doing actions or behaviors that protect your peace, protect your peace of mind, state of mind, that make sure that you don't get disrupted. So I'm making boundaries as a way to keep a distance from people so that I won't have to deal with them. Right. So you protect your peace. How I see it is you actually taking the emotional responsibility to communicate your needs so that other people can learn your capacity. It's a state of it's a state of increasing your capacity and awareness, right? If I know myself, I can state myself, I have the boundaries to protect that, right? And so then once they communicate the lack of respect for that, then it's understood, right? So I give people the option to be who they need to be when I'm in myself. I invite that, right? And then the way that me and you have been talking about it lately is understanding the, I guess you could say, the liability of not honoring the integrity of your wellness, right? It's the ability to honor the integrity of your wellness. And that might mean eating differently, moving differently, praying differently, meditating differently, hanging out differently as a way of life. So we talk about boundaries being more of like a lifestyle of wellness. And I talk about it more of a capacity. And then people typically see it as a defensive mechanism or defensive barrier.
Beautiful. I love the way that you just broke all of that down. I remember even last month, we talked about having boundaries through mindfulness. And I think we talked about even with the communication and the way that we, talk, just what you're talking about with the integrity of within ourselves. I think it is just going through my journey, my self-love journey and my healing journey. It allowed me to see different perspectives when it comes to boundaries and understanding what those boundaries mean for me. So I always say I lead in love. Now, me saying I lead in love and my actions might show that I lead in love, but I also have to be prepared. And I want y'all to hear me when I say this. I also have to be prepared to understand that everybody might not be ready for the love of my boundaries. Does that make sense? Because they might not think that it's of love. They might think that it's of something else. So I love when you say in the beginning of it is that I know who I am. I know what my intentions are for this. I know of that. So when you are, and this is where self-love come up, when you know of who you are and your intentions in all of that, then whatever anybody else has to say to you in response to you setting your boundaries with love is not going to affect you.
I love that. Yeah. And I think this is where people kind of misconstrue what love really is in the situation, self-love. Sometimes my boundaries, so when you access me, that's access, right? But you have to understand that when you're in my love, there's an expectation. I have a very high expectation about the way I love myself, the way I go to sleep, the way I wake up, the way I work out, the way I learn music, the way I do therapy. I have a way about the way I love my life, which is why you want to be a part of it, but you may not want to stay. It might be easier for me to give you how to like me than to actually love me, because I am a lot, and I know I am, because I put myself to a high standard.
Yeah.
Also, why I am successful the way that I am, right? I know that about myself. I know myself. I know my heart. And also, if it's not aligned with me, I just won't show up. I've been invited to many award ceremonies that I don't show up to because it's not my heart.
Right.
I don't need to be in this. I don't need to be in a space that doesn't represent my passion.
Yeah. You know what? Again, I love that you said that. And let me tell you why. Last month was all about mindfulness and being in the present moment, right? Being in the presence, right? And remember, I took off that whole week. And it's just that 1 week that I took off, it kind of ignited a lot of things for me more than ever. So and I think I shared it. I'm not quite remember when did I share it in one of the shows, but I remember walking around in my family room and I remember just watching and looking at everything. And this was a boundary for myself, because I used to say, this used to be my motto of everything, is that I have no ceiling to my success. There was no ceiling to it. It was just overflowing with everything.
Yeah.
But
Same.
me having that mindset, people say, oh, that's a great mindset to have. But also within that mindset that you have, you don't have any boundaries for yourself, meaning that you will be productive in things. You will be trying to chase different
Your
things.
overdrive.
Exactly. So when I realized that, even though you and I have had conversations on about why you feel you got to write all these books, why my product, you know what the word is.
Productivity. Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And so why you have to do that, it was all about me, my worth, abandonment. If I do all of this, then I'll be accepted. Even though I have been going through this self-love journey and been living authentically in myself, there's still a little part of that little bitty girl that was left at grandma's house for whatever reason that comes out and be like, okay, I got to do this to make sure but then I go back to my junior year in high school when my teacher told me, you are that dot outside of that circle. You ain't meant to fit in, baby. This is you out there. That ain't what she meant to tell me, but that is what I got from that, because every day, that's how I move in life. I've always set my own table. So for me to be that way, it's like, now you got to have boundaries for yourself, because now you're doing it for accolades. Now you're doing it for awards. Now you're doing it for this. You're doing it for spaces that you might not even supposed to be in.
Exactly.
So this is where you have to okay. You got to start setting boundaries for yourself, but with love. Still have compassion and everything for yourself. And so me going through that allowed me to have more grace for myself, laugh like, girl, but then be so happy that I was aware of that, that I was truly aware of that. But now I'm going to share another story with you. I just interviewed a guy the other day, amazing guy. Caesar Cardona is his name. And his story is crazy, the way that everything comes out. But I remember asking him the question about past, future, and his present moment. And I asked him, what are you of your presence? Who are you? What is this? Who, where? Because I know you had a tumultuous past, and in your future, you're not the type of person that really look at your future. But right now, he said, I learned to live in my eternity now. I never heard that like that. When you think about eternity, you think about something
Metaphysical or higher than what we,
But when you think about that, you think about somebody has passed along and in eternity. So you don't think about that living in your eternity right now in this moment. You know what I mean? And so
I always say eternity is now. So that's interesting because I always say that like my eternity is now. I'm
Yeah.
just passionately enjoying the moment.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
we don't do that. We don't
Yeah.
do that. Just the other day, I remember just going back to working out, and I was saying that I'm just marinating in life right now. I'm just going to
Mm,
marinate in life right now, meaning that I'm going to sit in this. I'm going to take my time, put the spices in it, and just live in it because I know this is the best that I could ever be right now because I am so aware. I am so aware.
hmm
I am so blessed. I am so gifted in so many different things that just living it now, just living it now.
Yeah. I think that you really hit the nail on the head because we live our lives so conditioned. Everything is so conditional. And we learn that we're only enough and we only learn that we're living in everybody else's permission.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to love, it's really hard to talk about love, but then be treated so conditional and feel so limited with others, right? And
Yeah.
so it really makes you question that. And I think what freed me was when I realized, they say the sky's the limit, but there are footprints on the moon.
Hmm.
It's like, what do you stand on? And so for me, I've learned that I stand on love. Like you say, you lead with love. I stand on love. So I know that if I'm not rooted in love, it
Hmm.
will never grow fruit.
Yeah.
I will never grow fruit from whatever people take from me.
Yeah.
I have to make sure I'm coming from love.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that. I truly want our listeners to know that love and self-love is not selfish. I'm telling you, it's not. Self-love
Mhm.
is really the root in the core of who you are. And if you don't know that, you will continue to be in toxic relationships.
Mm.
You continue to not know what boundaries are. You
Mhm.
will continue to create havoc and chaos in this world. I'm telling you.
See, I gotta ask you though because that put a fire in me. So I need you to tell your listeners completely because that is what you said was so powerful. But a lot of them are thinking, well, where do I start? What question do I need to look at first? So what's the first question would you say is like the first thing that they should look at first? Like, what's the first question that they should answer to begin that self-love? Because the passion to have self-love the passion to have self-love is a whole other journey that many people aren't even given until a traumatic situation happens or until they get through something long enough to find appreciation for it. How do they find that right now?
You
What do
know,
they
it's
do?
that mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror and what do you need to heal from? And be very honest. Where do it start? It starts somewhere. And if that means
Mm-hmm.
going back, then you have to go back. A lot of times you can't, most of the time, you cannot do this by yourself. Let's be very honest. So you will need help. You will need a therapist. You will need a coach. You will need someone to help you through this.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to acknowledge that there is hurt and there is healing to be met that's needed. Let me tell you something. I ain't gonna say 99.9%. It's 100% of this world. Every living human being in this earth need healing. The rich, the poor, the white, the black, the Asians, the Latinos, we all. But we all have this sense of we got this. We don't need nobody.
Mm-hmm.
We got this. We don't need nobody. And it's like, no, we need to tap in and see why are we acting this way? Why do we respond this way? Why do we feel this way? Why am I looking at myself this way?
Some people's mirrors are dirty though. They don't even
That,
know. They haven't even cleaned their mirror yet.
but that's the thing. That's when you start to clean that mirror.
Mm.
Because you in that dirty mirror, you still
Yeah.
see a vision of yourself in that dirty mirror. You know what I'm saying? And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, when they look at that dirty mirror, they want to clean it. So how do I clean it?
Yeah.
How do I clean that mirror? I can go get some spick and put it on there, but then there's gonna be a nice little haze on there because you
Right.
still didn't get down deep into
You
the
still didn't do the
soul
work.
of
You still
who
didn't do
you
the
are.
work.
And that work is really going back, as I said, me at 5, 6 years old, not understanding why I had to stay at my grandparents' house.
Yeah.
My mother and them lived over the next, town over. At 6 years old, I didn't understand that because I didn't have the capacity to understand. And back then, they was adults. You as a child, you stay in the child business. I tell you to go here. This is where you go. I come pick you up when I get ready to. That's all I heard at 6 years old that stay with me until now. So then when you look back and you see, that's why you got to look back in each chapters of your life. And you have to say, okay, what?
There's a theme, right?
Yeah.
There's a theme. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, let me say this, and a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people don't want to do that work. But I'm telling you, when you do, but when you do that, and you could come back, I'm telling you, so many amazing things will start to happen for you that you're going to be standing outside of yourself right now and looking like, whoa.
Right.
That's what that is. Yes, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Then the way that you react to people, the way that you communicate with people, the way that you do different things, even with people
in
your bed. Yes.
Right. And I'm so glad you said this because the truth is that we don't recognize how much, because for me, it was fear. I had so much fear about what I may not be rather than what I was about to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you realize who you're about to be rather than what they thought you were going to be, it's amazing how the shift, right? I fearlessly love people now.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what state you're in, what type of person. I am fiercely loving life. And so if you're a part of my life, then you're going to receive that love.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, even people that leave my life, usually end up doing better when they leave because I know my presence builds people.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. And so if I know that people are doing better once they leave, it means they grew away. We grew apart. You still grew from me, regardless of how you want to. I know intentionally that I was not taking from. I know what well I come from.
Yeah.
I know what waters I come from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's time for us to clear out our own water. And we've been polluted for so long. And that's time to switch that. And those boundaries are truly like flag markers on what love is really meaning to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what does love really mean to you? Because boundaries matter for everybody. It's not just for romantic and intimate. It's integrity.
Yeah.
It's a guess and check. Yeah. We have to have that.
Yeah.
We have to.
I am so glad that you said that. And I'll tell you why. This morning, my prayer was, I thank everyone that has came into my life. I am so grateful, whether they're friend, family, fan, or foe.
Mm-hmm.
Or foe. Because I've learned so much about myself. And as you said, I already know what my integrity of who I was going into these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned is that I cannot control anyone. I only can be me. So let's go into this next one. This next question about nurturing relationships with boundaries. So Dr. Will, what have you seen in your practice when people start to implement healthy boundaries?
Their language is more articulated. Instead of being like, I don't want no problems. I don't want no drama. I don't want to, I'd be too busy. He doing too much. You're doing too much. It's you start actually being more articulate about your capacity. You're like, hey, I'm starting to get tired. I'm going to go home. Hey, I can only be out here till about 2 hours. Hey, they got giving time limits.
Mm-hmm.
They have a schedule that they actually enjoy being a part of.
Mm-hmm.
They start recognizing their capacity. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying who all going to be there, it's not even about who's going to be there. It's about, do I really want to offer this much time and space?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's there. It's about what I need, I need to feel right with myself. And I think that's one of the biggest things I notice is when people start experiencing and articulating their own capacity. You know, I have a friend that literally will hang out and she'll let it go, all right, Will, I got about 20 minutes left. And the movie is an hour long. I'll be like, hey, I appreciate that. right? And so like it's them being able to accept their limitations. They're in their limitation of greatness. I have this much to be great. I'm going to honor that. And the thing is that they're always on time. They're always there. They're always present. And when they're there, they are there and you feel it. So I think that's the first thing. It's just the articulation of capacity is just phenomenal. They really say what they can and can't do. They're never going to surprise you and they're never going to shock you. It's going to be right there, right down the line. They ain't got nothing to hide about what they can and cannot do with you.
Right. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you said that about the 20 minutes. So she didn't watch the rest of the movie?
Nope. But she'll get back to it. And that's what I'm learning, that when you live a life of eternity,
Yeah.
the pace matters, right? Like I'll get to it when it needs to be got to. Right? Yeah, I don't need to finish another dissertation or another. No. I mean, like, thousands of articles a day get posted about how we need to do better in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Why haven't they changed?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Think about how many articles are written in communities about specific communities, and nothing's being done to actually change it, to change their lives in that community.
Yeah.
Right? So change comes from within, and I don't have to oversaturate my presence anymore. I've learned the power of my presence.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part of the whole boundaries, is like I don't have to reach further than what I can anymore. I don't.
Yeah. That was my realization.
Mm-hmm.
That wherever I'm supposed to be is where I'm supposed to be. You would no longer force yourself in spaces that you are not supposed to be in.
Yeah. And I want to add one more thing, because this kind of like it's like in the back of my head. So I hope that when we talk about boundaries with love, it's not a push or a pull. It's a state of acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
And you're surrendering also to your limitations.
Yes.
It's acceptance and a surrendering.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope that we're very clear about that, because this is so much deeper than what people are expecting.
Yeah.
About boundaries.
Yeah. And I want to go a little deeper with that. I'm about to go deeper with you. When we talk about limitations, I want to make sure that people don't understand is that we're not talking about limited beliefs. We're not talking about that. We're talking about what you can physically, mentally, and emotionally can do at that time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And so this is about, and I pray that you all got that out of being in the present, mindfulness and presence of last month. Because what it does is what Dr. Will said is about living in your limits. What you have right now, that's not stopping to add on to your limits or go further, but it's like appreciating, understanding what you have right now and working what you have right now. Sometimes we go beyond that and we don't even have the capacity to go here yet, because we're so worried about going up here that we're not doing the work that we need to do right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we get so caught up in that sometimes.
Yeah.
And I love that we can both agree and align with that. That's such a great frequency to be with.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. All right, so let's do this. All right, so let's talk about somebody that's never set boundaries before. They don't even know where to start. What are some ways that they can begin this journey?
This is going to be interesting. So the first thing is we're going to talk about permission. You need permission because you have not had the discipline of choosing yourself. So if you don't have the discipline to choose yourself, then you need to make a relationship with someone that gives you the permission to be yourself. Find that one person that you feel like gives you permission to be yourself first. And then confide in that, right? Learn the relationship that's needed, right? and you'll model that. They'll help you model what it feels like to choose yourself. And eventually you can start trying it out on your own. But I think sometimes in healing work, we feel like it has to be isolated.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, if the traumas typically don't happen isolated, they happen relationally.
Mm-hmm.
So your healing has to happen relationally as well. So find someone that you trust, that you feel like gives you your permission to say yes, or helps you say yes to yourself, and ask them to help you kind of choose yourself and what that looks like, and explore that.
I love that. I do. I love that so very, very much. Wow, I do. And because when you said that, I thought about my baby. I thought about
Mm.
he loves me regardless of any and everything. Like, and this is what happens when I hate that when people love you like that, when you are in relationships that they love you like that versus men and women that love you, that accept you for who you are, that love on you like that they are called simps, or she's just very passive. You know what I'm saying? Because that person is not doing what you think they should do for you, what you think you would want in your relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And so when you think about that, it's somebody, they love you for you without the makeup, without the hair, without the whatever, without the, you're not trying to be, they just love you in all of your rawness, all of your nakedness, and love on you, but also speak into you. And I think that's a lot of things that's missing in life, especially with social media, is there's so much comparison that you
People
have.
aren't speaking in you. People are
Huh?
speaking at you. People are speaking at you in social media. They're not speaking into you.
Exactly. But when you see that, people don't know the difference.
They don't know.
People
Yeah.
they don't know the difference
Yeah, they
of
don't.
what that look like.
Right.
When we talk about those dirty mirrors, social media is full of dirty mirrors. Full of dirty
That's a
mirrors.
book. That's a book
Yeah.
right there.
So when I get on naked with no, and I don't mean naked with my boobs hanging out, I'm talking about naked with no makeup on, with my locks, like that. You might get some people, oh, what happened to you? I am truly living in my fullness. I can rock whatever the hell I want to and still be good with that. But my thing is, what's going on with you? What's going on with you that you will go under somebody post, whether it's me or anybody else, and say something of a negative when they are living in their truth, not yours, but theirs. So they can be on there with a bonnet. They could be on there with short song as a man. You understand what I'm saying? A man could be on there crying and showing his vulnerable side. That don't make him a punk. That don't make him a sissy, a simp. That don't make them any of that. Actually, what it do, it make him more whole than you will ever be, because they are tapping into emotions and feelings that you are too afraid to tap in because you're scared of what label somebody might put on you.
And I'm so glad you said it, because thing, like, when they talk about that one R&B singer that was like crying like years ago, and they made fun of it and all that, and it's just like, is there an etiquette to social media? Yes, there's an etiquette. There's an etiquette. There's also an array of emotions that go beyond the etiquette. And so, even the most recent artist, the rapper that talked about his traumatic situation growing up in his family, now we have a reason why a lot of these things may have been the way that they have been. And it wasn't because of just grief and the loss of a parent, right? Now we know their trauma history. Now, does that excuse his behavior? Now that we know the answer, do we want to now like give him more grace that you were a victim of these years of abuse? Or do we learn to accept people for what's really happening and then be like, okay, well, that's your life. I have to respect that. That's not my life. But people seem to have this weird level of thinking that they have access to people. That's just not real. You don't have the access that you think you have with somebody.
Right.
And somehow we've romanticized this access in social media, especially where we think that we have control or influence over influencers,
Yeah.
which is weird. That's a
Yeah.
really weird attachment.
Yeah. Wow. You know what? You said something about, do we give them grace? Do we give him grace? I and when I say this, follow me with this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's happening is that we don't know how to understand or take care of one's heart.
Woo!
We
Woo!
do.
Oh, let's go there. Wait a second. Let's go there. Let's go. Keep going. Keep
We don't.
going. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but I'm about to say, but that comes from self-love and what you feel about yourself. That's where that core and that grace that you have for yourself, you will want to have that for others. Not giving him no
Mm-hmm.
excuse
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, okay, this should be your next statement, when it was like, wow, I want to pray for you, my brother. Or what is it that I can do to help you to get you some, whatever. But that's not it. Now it's, oh, I understand, but he still should know better. How should he know better when this is all that was taught to him? Really, let's really think about it. This was all that was taught to him. Then he was brought into, he used his artistry, his creative artistry, to take him out of that environment,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that he was going to be able to fix it and control it, because that's what we do think. We think that money is going to take us out of these situations,
Right.
but not understanding that remember I said, as that 5-6-year-old girl that was abandoned, we don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
You can say he was 14 when he stopped. Baby, let me tell you something. You don't know when that started. It could have started somewhere else down the line. And he think
Right.
that's all the only mentality that he has at this moment, or she.
Right.
We're just not talking about, we're talking about as a
Mm-hmm.
whole.
As a whole.
So when we talk about looking in that mirror, when we talk about that dirty ass mirror,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm talking about, when you got to really sit in it and be like, damn, oh, I got some healing to do. He has some healing to do, but who is equipped for that? And
If
I'm
you
not
can see
talking about somebody.
if you can see the healing that he has, then why don't you see the healing that you need?
Exactly.
That means there's some work that, if you can see the healing that he needs, that means there's healing that you need.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't be worrying about that if it wasn't about you.
Yeah.
Right? You don't even realize that you're seeing something in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the foundation of my entire modality.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about secondary healing.
Yeah.
If I see you and your healing, that makes me have to see the capacity of my own.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing this person that just opened up about something traumatically to him. So when it comes to love and boundaries, I don't expect him to have any boundaries or love about anything, because he's never gotten over his work yet. And he's finally in the beginning stages of that.
Exactly.
He's setting his boundaries right now.
Exactly.
By admitting his truth and his trauma and his saturation. He's admitting this now.
Exactly.
And think about how many people he's hurt along the way, because he didn't take time for himself. And in trauma, you realize that you destroy everything else around you, not just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes trauma so dangerous.
Yeah.
Because it hurts everybody else around you, not just you. You did that. Let's bring it in. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Ooh, you went there. You went there. This is a great day. Ooh, yes, you did it. Yeah. Ooh,
But yeah, honestly, I know I'm laughing right now, because like I said, I love this month. I love this whole series on just everything. And because I am a relationship person, meaning my relationship with you, my relationship with our listeners, my relationship with my personal and everything. I love those relationships, but I also came to understand and respect that a lot of these relationships that I love, there still has to be boundaries with them. They still have to have boundaries with them. And that's even with myself. That's even with yourself.
Oof. When you learn the boundaries you see, and this is why I like my version of boundaries, is because I'm not worried about what other people do. I'm worried about who I might become if I don't take care of myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? I have boundaries so that I don't become something that I know would hurt other people.
Yeah.
I work on that. That's something I actively work on, trying to be harm reductive as possible, right?
Yeah.
We want to be harm reductive as possible to really build healthy relationships.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I always say that my mask is off. I had to live majority of my life with a mask on. What does your mask look like?
My mask looks like a really bright light that's very colorful, very inviting, unlimited power, unlimited warmth, unlimited wealth, unlimited everything. It makes everybody feel like they can just walk through the door.
Your
And
mask off. Okay, I'm sorry. Go
so
ahead.
that's the mask on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when the mask is off, they realize that I'm actually just extremely sensitive. I'm quiet. I'm very introverted, and I'm actually always in deep thought. And I actually am a very silent person, but you'll never see that unless you really are there with me,
Yeah.
right? So mask off, I'm actually very the opposite. But I've just learned that the mask on helps me get through life a little easier, and it lets me build the things that myself really needs, to feel like I'm living my purpose. So yeah.
I love that. And let me tell you why. Because when I say that my mask is off, that's showing my authentic, raw me, every bit of me. When my mask is on, that is my strive for perfectionist. That is my strive to thrive. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Mm.
But I truly understand when you say that that mask protects you in moment. And I think, no, let me take that thing back. I believe that is what we're supposed to do. I believe that once we unmask ourselves, we can pick up that mask and use it that will be truly beneficial for our growth.
Yes.
That makes it for
Yes.
healing. Yeah.
Yes.
And
And
that's part of that
yeah.
boundaries that you do put up there. That's
Yes.
in that boundary tool, that toolbox. I guess I need to start making a toolbox for boundary, toolbox for fear, toolbox. Yeah,
Yes.
let's do that. Yeah.
Yes. And the truth is, I tell people that the mask I have allows me to land, but without the mask, I ground. I ground with my mask off. I never ground with my mask on.
Ooh,
And when you learn to do that, it changes your entire life.
beautiful. Ooh, I just got an idea. Hold on. Just keep going. Hold on.
That's all I got. That was in the moment. I was inspired by, yeah. I always live that way because at some point you have to know the boundaries is learning when to take it off.
Yeah.
Right? That's internal. When do I know I can take that off? When do I know? When is it my time? Right? And when people don't know how to do that, I'm watching.
All right, Dr. Will, guess what? We're going to end on that note.
Amen. The next episode.
We're going to end on that note. Like, why are you rushing it? Because I got this idea and I don't want to forget it.
Oh my God. We had a good time.
Yeah, we did. We did.
did.
And you know what, my listeners, seriously, my prayer is that you got and you understood everything that we said. And if not, press replay and go back again and listen to it again. But honestly, if you have any questions, you know where to hit us up. You know where to hit us up if you have any questions or concern. But also go to the book. There's some stuff in the book that will help you along with that as well. This conversation today was so powerful. It was so amazing. It was fun.
It was fun.
It was so fun. I mean, we talked about boundaries in so many different ways. And I promise you, my prayer is that we didn't lose y'all.
They'll come back. They want a journey. They want a side quest. They'll come back.
That y'all, we be Alice in Wonderland up in here.
So many side quests.
But again, Dr. Will, thank you so much. This has been amazing. Yeah, it truly has.
Yeah.
It truly has. Do you have any last words for our listeners?
Yes, be kind to yourself and heal always.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, to everyone listening, I want you to remember, and here's the reminders that Boundaries are not barriers. They are bridges to a deeper connection to peace and you becoming home to yourself. Marinate in it. Marinate in it. Y'all have an amazing, amazing week. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.